example, when I collaborate with Santa Cruz Coffee Roasting downtown, how we can both benefit because I'm giving them content, they're giving me content. So that's kind of where I came from with the real estate. With the vacation rental business I have up in the Murphys area, very quickly the same kind of thing. How many times can I show what the house looks like? What I realized very quickly was that when people come up there, just like in Santa Cruz, they need to know where are the coffee shops, where do we go wine tasting, tell me about the caves. But something very interesting that came out of that, the more I publicized the businesses and got to know the businesses there, I don't know if you guys know Murphys, it's a tiny town. It's like population 1,800. We all just drink wine there, so. What happened was, you have all these businesses that people come up there on day trips, and then they say to the proprietor, you know, gosh, this is a great place, how can I come back and, you know, where would I stay? What I found very quickly, the more I publicized them, the more they started publicizing me, and it really started changing the amount of bookings we had. So this is where I would look at, think about what your focus is. Kim, if what your focus is right now is you have a special and it's gonna be like, I gotta get them here for St. Patty's Day, we're putting green masks on, I know we talked about that, then, you know, maybe hers is specials. Maybe it's something like with Michael, maybe Michael is gonna do, you have trivia, which I love. Maybe some things you start introducing is your musical, your DJ, your trivia. Maybe start doing some of the posts that you enjoy, musical trivia. Whatever it is, find out things that are kind of like your focus, but really make them fun. You guys in the insurance industry, I know you can go out on the internet and you can get all you want in terms of humor about like insurance claims and all that. Are you allowed to do an Instagram account or not?
Absolutely.
Oh, you are, good. This is where with insurance, you're in a very serious business. Maybe you can make some light of it and do some things that are a bit more humorous. Oh, good. I need to follow you then. The other account that I was helping, I had 4 accounts. One of them, they'd gotten someone to take over for them, but a friend of mine had a wine tasting business up in Murphys, a winery. And so it was interesting because I know a little bit about wine, but like, I don't know what Barbera pairs well with, you know, that's not me. But what was interesting that I found with Mark was when I would walk into the winery and I would tell people, I'm Janet, I'm here shooting some photos for Instagram, would you be okay with that? People got really excited about that because people want to be on Instagram. They want to be out there, they want to tell their friends they were helping do this. So very quickly we went from explaining about like what wines, because that's what I don't know, but taking pictures of people and really starting to use that. What happened is it started building community, and it actually started building his wine club, because it would be other people having a picture, sharing it with their friends, and their friends want to be a part of all the fun. Then we come to Think Local First, and this is where I'm going to be talking a little bit to, to the Scotts Valley Chamber. Because for Kelly, it's interesting where you are as a chamber, because on one hand you're a business, but you're a nonprofit. Like, it's not like where you go out and you say like, these are the socks that we share. So when I came into Think Local First, I realized very quickly that we were going to be kind of the platform that people pass their advertising through. And what I mean by that is, we are a very small nonprofit. I'm not paid, this is strictly volunteer. If I was trying to post every day and I had to go out and shoot videos and photos and everything, there's no way I could do it. So very quickly what we started working with is showing our members, how do we collaborate? How do you give us content that's on your page and also on our page? And we're going to talk about collaboration, because that's probably one of my favorite things, is that tagging and collaboration, and I'll explain why. Okay, talking about a couple of the accounts, so again, Think Local First and that, just to give you an idea, when I came on was about 20 months ago. When I came on, we had about 3,300 followers. Very quickly, I took some strategies that I was just kind of guessing would work, and they became very effective. And that was like tagging people, responding, liking, commenting. In those 20 months, we've gone from 3,300, right now we're up at about 6,800, we're approaching 6,900. So about a 5% growth rate a month. And we also started finding that our membership started growing at that same rate. So we're gonna talk too about how do you get followers? How do you get engagement? How do you build that up for results? It doesn't have to be expensive. When you look at our account, you're going to realize 90% of what's posted on our account is content from others, which can be very valuable, and we'll talk about what that is. Talking about a couple accounts and what you could do, I didn't have anyone in particular that I wanted to talk about for an account for certain subjects, so let me use a couple different businesses that, for example, in Capitola, when they had their floods, and I went in and I was talking to the business owners, what they said to me is, gosh, we just want people to know we're open, because all the news was saying that, you know, Capitola had washed away. So what we did is I went in there and started filming videos, very simple videos. Hold the camera up, shoot a reel, and it's just the business owner saying, like, please come support us, these are our hours, whatever. There's a woman in Capitola, she has a business called Euphoria, her name is Tatiana, and she was doing a lot of stuff on her Instagram account where it was just kind of generic, like here's the picture from the ordering of the dress. When she started doing these videos, all of a sudden things started to change. And what she would do is, on the first video she did, she said to me, Janet, I'm not going to do a video. I don't want to be on camera. And I shared with her, you get used to that and see kind of what your comfort zone is. She now takes a camera on her own, her phone, she'll set it on a tripod, she'll stand back, she'll have the dress or whatever she wants to show, and she goes, I don't know if you guys have heard this, hi guys! Is that familiar to anyone? This is Euphoria. Hi guys! She starts every video that way. People now come into her store, hi guys! They walk by the front door, hi guys! At the very end, she does, you know, she's Brazilian, so she can do this, right? But what she started doing is she would talk about the black dress, and she would show it and kind of, you know, this is 30 second, maybe 45 second. What was interesting is, by the end of the day, people would be coming in like, I want to buy the black dress. So she knew it was effective. So she started continuously doing that. Tatiana's a one-horse operation. She doesn't pay for any of this, but she will sit down, do a quick video. She said for her to do the video and get it out 5 to 10 minutes. That's the kind of thing that you need to find what you're comfortable with. For her, it's the video. She doesn't really have to do much of anything else. There's another example, one of our other members is the Mediterranean Bar in Seacliff, Anthony. And when Anthony became a member, he said, Janet, you can tell me about Instagram, but I don't want to do all that filming. I said, great. Do you have any accounts that you follow? He said, yeah, there's this guy in LA. He's got this great account. And I said, great, let's look at it. We pulled up the account, and what we found was he has a bar in LA, but all the content was just him resharing videos from other people's sites. In other words, other accounts, which you can do. If you go to a video, you can look down on the bottom and you can see whether it allows downloads on your scroll bar. Let me just pull this up so you get a sense of what we're talking about. So if we go in and you go down on the bottom on your, excuse me, scroll bar, what was I saying with Anthony? I'm sorry, let me go off that for a minute. Let me just continue on this. So with Anthony, with these videos, is he would go in and he would look at that. I know what it was. Here we go. Let's just see if we're here and we look at, we press the, you know, the paper airplane thing like you were going to do a story. You can look down on the bottom. Now this is, I think it's Sock Shop Santa Cruz. See this right here is saying download? Download indicates you could download that video. So let's say there's some fun humor out there and they allow downloads. You can put that in there. Anthony started doing videos. That's all he does. He'll film a couple parties at the bar and that, but what he uses is everyone else's videos. So he will go in, if he's got Dirty Harry coming for the Monday morning show, he'll go in and he'll do a search and look at hashtags, and maybe he puts in Dirty Harry, he'll just grab a clip that he can download. That's what he uses. Doesn't take a lot of time, makes it very easy, okay? Let me use an example of someone else, and I want to talk about sort of direction again on what you could do, an example of something. You guys know Shopper's Corner? I love Shopper's Corner. When Andre and I first started talking, he said, you know, I inherited this account, I really don't know what I'm doing. And I said, great, what do you like? Tell me about your business. You know, what do you like about the business? He started talking about a couple things. One was they've been there forever, so he has like old black and white photos. He also talked about customers. He loves their customers, and he loves their employees, their butchers, you know, all of that. So we kind of started looking at that. one of the things that Andre created was he has something called a shopper spotlight. So he'll walk around in the store and there's Peter and Shauna from Maverick Mailing or whatever. He'll take a picture of Peter and Shauna and then he'll use that as a post. He calls it the, shopper spotlight, and it will be the customer talking about the business, why they love to shop at Shoppers. He'll do other ones that are like the old black and white photos or whatever. What he found was a lot more engagement, more people that instead of just showing that you sell jelly or whatever it is, So again, find what it is that you like and make it easy for yourself. Don't try to make this too difficult. If it's too difficult, come talk to me. Let's figure out a different way of doing it so that you really, when you're walking around and he just sees a customer, he takes a photo, later on he's gonna keep that in his phone, he's gonna do a post. It doesn't have to be something that requires a tremendous amount of time. One of the things that I wanna talk about that most people miss with Instagram, but I truly believe it's probably one of the biggest things out there, is talking about your actual profile. And what I mean is this. So everyone has on their page, this is your profile. What you have at the very top, think local first, Santa Cruz. Then you're gonna have things like your name, it's got categories, your bio and all that. One of the things that people don't realize, and look at your username and your name. Michael and I were talking about this. So Michael has Michael Gaither and as his username. And then he has for his name, Michael Gaither. Because when we first started with Instagram, it was kind of like you always wanted to make the two the same. Now what they've realized is this is your SEO. This is your search engine optimization. This is how people find you. So for example, with Michael, he could put in some keywords that would really change how searchable he is. As an example, I want to just show you guys something. I'm just going to take, how many restaurants do you think we have in Scotts Valley? 20? 30? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe 20.
Let's 30, 40? Let's do Scotts Valley, R-E-S-T-A-U-R-A-N-T. Let's do a search for Scotts Valley restaurant. Oops, Scotts Valley restaurant. Janet, you gotta be.
Although Scott's restaurant does look good.
Scotts Valley.
Road trip.
That's right.
Scotts Valley restaurant. There's nothing. You have all these restaurants, but it's not anywhere in their wording. They don't have it in their name or username. And a lot of people look at category and say, yeah, but I put it in category. It's not necessarily the primary search optimization, it's your category. I want to use Kim for an example. We had talked a couple weeks ago. And what's interesting is, so Kim is Kalani Day Spa. What we did with hers was we took Kalani Day Spa. She first had Kalani Scotts Valley. We did Kalani Day Spa Scotts Valley. That is her name. So let me pull up Kalani. Okay, here's Kalani Day Spa Scotts Valley. And by the way, looking at that, if you've got a long name that you're using, don't just put all the letters together. It will actually read a little bit better if you put, I find the underscores, not the dots. I'm 67 years old. Dots don't work real well for me on a computer. So Kalani Day Spa. Let's go ahead and look at that. Now, what we did was, she was Kalani Scotts Valley. We changed it to Kalani Day Spa Scotts Valley. But look at what we put her name as. Best of Santa Cruz, facials, massage, body waxing, and wraps. What's interesting right now is you could pull up Scotts Valley facials, and even though that's not her name, she's gonna pull up, I think she's third in the list right now. You could pull up waxing. You could just pull up Santa Cruz, because we put Best of Santa Cruz. Someone could put Santa Cruz waxing and you'll get Kalani Day Spa. Oops, sorry, Darcy. You'll get Kalani Day Spa. So this is your SEO. For Michael, could be Michael Gaither Musician. And by the way, make sure your username really says who you are. You could do Michael Gaither Musician. Now you're definitely a musician, okay? Why is that important? Because when you go and, let's just look at this post. This is a post that Kalani did last night. You can see down here and others, Vital Body Therapeutics. You're getting free advertising. When you like that and they see that name, like Vital Body Therapeutics, that's a little long. I'd probably put some underscores in there. This is where your free advertising is. So make sure they know who you are. If it says Kalani Day Spa, they know you're a day spa. So really look at what your name is to make sure that you're taking advantage of that. So then when we look at that, when we look at the name again on the searching and all that, that's your free advertising you're gonna get. I wanna suggest one of the ways to build followers and to increase, get engagement in that, when you sit down every morning with that cup of coffee, go in and spend 10 minutes. Go back to my account. Come on, there we are. This is your feed, okay? This is what's coming in. These are all the accounts you follow, okay? Those are all the accounts you follow. This is your feed. So click on that, and what you wanna do, as a thought, would be spend 5 to 10 minutes every morning. For example, Sienna House Santa Cruz is one of our Think Local First members. You can like it. You can, the next one is the Santa Cruz Museum, another member. Go through and start liking, because now you're gonna get the free advertising. When someone goes to Santa Cruz Museum, if I was the most recent one, I may very well get some free advertising with our name on it. So again, good to do. It also, if you want people to engage with you, we got a little one. Who are you, by the way?
I'm Emily.
With?
Empowering Hands.
What is it?
Empowering Hands.
Empowering
Massage
Hands. Oh, good. Okay.
This is
So, cute. What was I saying? Oh, on just the, the following in that. Sit down for 5 or 10 minutes. It's easy. Just go through and like. When you make comments, if you want people to engage with you, you need to engage with them. The other thing I will tell you is when I came on to Think Local First, people kind of like they knew about the organization, but they really didn't. I would spend a lot of time doing that because I really needed to get our name back out there. That's how we started getting followers so quickly, because people would start saying, I don't know who this is. Oh, I know who this is. So it really helps to build up your brand, okay? Next, your bio. Let me go back to, we've got our Think Local First up at the top. Oops, you know what is that? It should go up a little bit higher. That's okay. All right, let me go to here. All right, there we go. So we're Think Local First Santa Cruz. Shop small, buy local, support Santa Cruz County. This is your bio in here, okay? You've got 150 characters. Use them up. Be creative. You don't need to go back. We don't have to, if you're doing Kalani Day Spa, you don't have to go back and name some of the stuff that's in your name because it's already there, okay? So use your bio. You can use emojis. You've got 150 characters. Use them up, okay? Next one is your links right here. That's your web page typically. One of the things you may want to think about is you have your website that might be like whatever, Kalani Day Spa, okay, .com. But maybe you want to also have specials, you want to have all these other things. You may want to think about turning it into Linktree, which is a free app on your phone. You can use it, you don't have to pay for the paid version. So on Think Local First, for example, we have visit our website, so much local going on. You guys may see we do a post on Thursdays, become a member, watch us on YouTube. This is where you can watch this taught 2 weeks ago if you want to see that. So you may want to have, there's Kalani, it's your specials, it's your, whatever it might be, your website, all of that, tips, whatever, your products. That what's nice about that is when you do Linktree, instead of, you guys have known, you probably look at someone's links and it says like, this website +4, and then you have to kind of go through and find out what the other 4 are when you click on them. This makes it very easy to do and set up, and again, you're not paying anything for it, okay? Let me go back to, I want to show you, this is where you make your changes from. Michael, you were asking about this, edit profile. One of the things to consider is, when you go in and you change something like your name or username, you're not losing any of your posts, you're not losing anything that you've already done. It's gonna warn you like, are you sure you wanna do this? You can only do it twice in 14 days. Yes, you wanna do it if you're interested in making those changes. And again, it will correct itself very quickly in terms of, you don't have to change anyone or get anyone new to follow you. It takes care of it. The only thing you have to remember, if you put your link on your website, make sure you go back and change the link, because now it's gonna be sending it to a link that doesn't exist, okay? So, we've got our username is here, very clear on what you are. Your name, this is your SEO optimization, both of these are, okay? Here's your bio. Your links would be, if you go to that, that's how you would change, like whether you're gonna do Linktree. Maybe you just wanna have 2 websites, that's fine. Just go to links and you'll see where you can add whatever that is, add your websites or your pages in that. Let's go down to category. This is a great one. Now, entrepreneur is serving a special purpose for us, and I'll come back to that in just a minute. When you go to category, Instagram wants to suggest what you are. So they give you about 20 of these. What you can do though is up above where it says search categories, maybe you want to search and see if there's anything besides musician band. Maybe there's something else that's more appropriate. Just start to type in there. They have about 1,000 other categories that you can use. So don't be locked into the 20 that they give you here. Just do another search. You know, helping hands, you know, there might be some keywords you could put in. You can't customize it any further than the 1,000 they give you, but you got a lot of choices. So you really want like that category to say what you do, okay? Now, why did I put entrepreneur in there? Because have some of you that have done collaboration, how many have done collaboration where you actually have like someone else on, okay. When you do that, sometimes what happens is, like, Michael goes to offer K-Pig collaboration, and he may look at K-Pig and the name is kind of ghosted out in gray. The ghosted out in gray means that there's an issue where something about the music he's using and the copywriting, if you go in, and like in their case, if they're grayed out, if K-Pig would temporarily switch it to entrepreneur and then switch it back afterwards from whatever their category is, it will let the collaboration go through. So if you're ever in that place where you're looking at, you want to collaborate and it's grayed out, but you want that person to do it with you, then you could put in entrepreneur. Just in general, if you use a lot of music, you could also do that. We use a lot of music on our site. So I have entrepreneur in there, but something else as you look towards the bottom, it says profile display down here. With profile display, you can choose, like, I have it to know on the display category. I don't want Think Local First to say entrepreneur, but I do want it to display the contact info. If you guys have put your contact info in, it should be showing up on your profile. So you can go back in and look. Let me go to Janet Romanowski, because Think Local First, we don't put an address in there. Okay. If you've got your contact info in, you can get your address in, and it's not going to be taking up any of those 150 characters, okay? So you can go to, again, it would be under your, let's go back to the profile for a moment. Profile is under contact options. You guys also may want to go in and check what that says. People inherit an account and they realize the emails are going to someone else's account. So that's where, go back in and check, make sure everything is valid on what you're doing. Good thing to check, okay? All right, let's go off of that for a minute. Yes. Neville. I love, he doesn't have an Instagram account, but he's actually brave enough to ask a question.
Let's take this up to a much higher level. We're down in the weeds. That's
Okay.
nice. There's good
Okay.
weeds here. What's to reach our customers? Most of us are small business owners here. Is this the platform we should be looking at? And here's my question.
Yeah.
I have teenagers and I have parents and I have adult athletes looking for this. 3 different customer segments. Each one of those may be using something different. Tell me about that segmentation, and is this the right tool in general for me?
I'm not an Instagram expert. I'm gonna guess on this. I find with real estate, because by the way, when you post to Instagram, what you should be doing in your settings is having it cross-post to Facebook, so that if you do a post on Instagram, you don't have to do a second one on Facebook.
Okay.
Facebook to Instagram doesn't work, but Instagram to Facebook does.
Really?
Yeah. So what you can do, that's why sometimes in Meta, people are, if they use Meta Suite or whatever, I understand they're posting twice or something.
Yeah.
So if I post something, it's gonna go to Instagram, it's gonna go to Facebook. What's interesting is, I think, in my opinion, Instagram is a little more business oriented. And I almost feel like Facebook is a little bit more of the personal. Facebook also has a lot of political stuff on it. And I know that they say it's an older crowd, and I'm in that older crowd. I don't care. I like Instagram versus Facebook. I like the fact that with Instagram you have all these things like collaboration and all that, which Facebook doesn't have. So that's kind of where I would be. Deidre, did you have something?
Yeah, we've done a lot of research on that because we have different age brackets in our customer base. And Facebook, I mean, if my team had their way, we'd be off Facebook because Facebook to them is 60 years old plus. And I agree with them, like the interaction I get on Facebook is with my older customers, and so I can't alienate them because that's a huge base of my business. Instagram is the younger crowd. I mean, my daughter's 31, and if you ask her about Facebook, she's like, Mom, I turned that off years ago. I want nothing to do with it. But Instagram is the younger and growing population where you get served everything.
What do you guys think? Any other opinions?
I can
on
add, we
this?
talked about this the other day. Cause I cross-posted both, and I found that when I put something on, when I cross-post, like when it goes to Facebook, it's all my friends going, yay, like, Ray. If I go to Instagram, I get new people looking at my stuff.
Yeah.
It's a whole bunch of new people versus Facebook.
And teenagers?
For sure.
I think that you might get a little bit more outreach with teenagers if you do TikToks,
TikTok.
because that's what they're on.
Sure.
Like if you have, you know, videos that you could put on TikTok, that might be good outreach for you. I've also noticed, because I have nephews and younger siblings, they don't really look at posts too much. They're looking at the post if you put it on the story, and then they'll click on the post.
And we're gonna talk about that.
So
Yep, on what
nobody's
those are.
really looking at posts anymore as much, unless you really have the time to. But teenagers, they want fast, quick information, and by clicking on stories and just scrolling through really fast,
Okay.
That's how they
hold
get
on a
their
second. You lost me
information.
there somewhere.
We're gonna go-
Sorry for my ignorance.
she probably
What's a
will-
story?
Well, let's
Yeah.
stop on that because I'm gonna circle back to that. That is an important
I
thing.
do want to add though, as
Kelly.
a mom of a teenager, my son is not trying to find the next best martial arts studio
Right.
when he's on TikTok. It is like brain rot, they call it.
Yeah.
But I, the mom,
Right, that's
The
my
mom,
real
that's
customer.
your,
That's
that's
my
it.
real customer.
Instagram, and I will sign my son up against his will, and I will drive him there.
I have a bunch of that.
And I will force him inside, and he'll walk out so happy because the mom does the things. Not to diminish dads, sorry. But so I'm on Instagram and I run his life. So
Fair
that's,
So
enough.
now-
And you have the money.
well, that's questionable.
So Neville, there is a business in town called Santa Cruz Parkour.
Sure.
And that's the one, you know, the kids jump on stuff and turn and they go to the park and do all of that. They have a great following on Instagram, and the kids enjoy watching it because it's fun. You might find you actually get more of that. I'm gonna talk about how you get more followers for that,
Sure.
but it's the parents that pay for it.
Absolutely.
Musical Me, she teaches toddlers how to sing. Yeah, it's not directed at the toddlers, but you can bet there's tons of baby pictures and mothers singing, and you know, she plays on the emotion there. So I just think it's a big enough platform that if you look at it, the parents are who's paying, and it's them that might say, hey, look at this, looks really fun, would you go to this? Or maybe the kid starts following
So
you.
what I heard was Instagram for parents and TikTok for teenagers.
I don't know, I don't do anything on TikTok.
Yes.
It's very popular. I think you might get some outreach
Yeah.
on there, if you do like the correct hashtags and things like that.
What you could do is the video that you create, the reel that you create for Instagram, let's say Instagram is your platform you're kind of looking at, you could create that, and as long as it's something like you created it on what, iMovie or Vimeo or one of those, if you create a video, a like self-contained one, you can turn around and easily post it on TikTok. And it doesn't have to be your platform that you're doing everything on, just randomly put them out there and see if it works. Yeah,
Okay, thanks.
okay?
I want to mention something about just Scotts Valley in general. I think we have, like, the community has a big presence on Facebook. And so not so much, like, I don't really, like, think about building my Facebook page so much, but I don't neglect it in the sense that, like, we have a really strong local moms group. We have a really strong local, like, just Scotts Valley locals group. My Scotts Valley does tons of stuff on Facebook. And so I feel like that has really given me a lot of, like, personal recommendations and things like that, just by maybe on there they can tag your business when somebody's asking for a referral. So I like that for like referral based, but not so much like my vision or whatever I want people to see. But still like having content on there, I think it'd be bad to just.
And that's why the cross-posting makes it easy. Now, Instagram has a grid. What I'm referring to on the grid is this. So Instagram has a grid, which I like, and Facebook doesn't. You know how you just have to scroll through to find people's posts? Now, what's interesting is, let's talk about when you post, if something is effective. And I'm gonna use something that's on, let me go to my other page. Okay? Talking about what to post. With your type of business, you could end up pulling videos that are off the internet that talk about whatever, self-defense, karate, martial arts, whatever. You could do a lot of things that are where you're talking about the programs that you offer, you know, lots of things you can post.
Sure.
You can post things about events that are coming up, which Instagram is really good with. Now, they don't have the same thing as Facebook where it's like you want to share an event, but if you're cross-posting both of them, then just go ahead and do the event on Facebook too. Reviews are good. So when you get out on Instagram and you get a review from someone on a Google review, by all means, do it as a post. Do it as a post where like, here's a review, because in real estate, they don't care how much I say I'm a great real estate agent. It's when someone else says, we love staying at your hotel, whatever it is. So I think reviews are really powerful on either platform, but especially on Instagram. Day-to-day humor, I was laughing with Deidre as, you know, I can only imagine at Zinnia what inventory day looks like there, you know, the boxes. She's got such a nice, you know, space, and when inventory comes in, it must be a total mess. That can be fun. You know, why not stack up 20 boxes and there's, all you hear is the voice behind it, you know? I don't know. But there's, you know, find things that you feel inspired about. Don't be doing a post just because someone said, oh, the algorithm says right now I need to do that. You'll get off Instagram so quickly if you do that. Really find things that make you happy that you want to post about, okay? Some other things, customers, taking pictures of customers, products and all that, educating people, talking to people about, you know, the value of sunscreen, and you've got a great product that you sell. It doesn't all have to be about massages and, you know, lashes or whatever. What you're passionate about, and kind of a funny example, Christine Peeney in my office came to me one day and she said, Janet, I just don't like Instagram. I don't know what to post. And we started talking, and in the course of the conversation, she told me she was a triathlete. I never realized that. So I said, do you ever post anything about being a triathlete? And she said, no, you know, because this is real estate. I said, yeah, but you have customers that are sports oriented. She ended up going and just taking a basic picture of some people on bikes, like working out or whatever. She posted, she calls me up the next day and she said, I've never gotten this many followers off one post. So again, she found something that she's passionate about. What's interesting, she's now posting more things about sunsets and riding the bike on the trail. She's doing more of that, and she's having more fun with it. Janet?
You may be talking about this later, but I can remember in the early days they were talking about how many posts you should do in a day, the level of frequency. Any suggestions on that?
Do what you're comfortable with. For me, when people are giving me all this content, I can do 2 and 3 posts a day. It's not Janet doing it, but I've got all this content. If what you're comfortable with is, you know, posting once a week, if it's a good post, do that. You know, don't get in the thing about, I have to do it every 3rd day on Wednesday at 5 o'clock. Those accounts that I was talking about, the real estate account, people go in, they're real estate agents and buyers and sellers and that, they go in between 6:30 to 9 o'clock in the morning, let's say. They're there, they're ready to get the day started. You look at the winery account that I worked on, they're not even up at 9 o'clock in the morning. They've been drinking the night before. So theirs was always like 4 to 6 o'clock. My vacation rental business was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So post what you're comfortable with. I would rather see you do one good post than to bore people with a bunch of these posts that like have they don't resonate at all. They're going to turn around and unfollow you, okay? So timing, like how much to post, just do what you're comfortable with. Other things regarding posting is, you know, when we talk about a post, let me pull this up a little bit. We're going to use this one. You guys know Surfing Rosie? Rippin' Rosie, what does she call herself? This is the dog that surfs, okay? Rio Theater is a member of Think Local First. Rio Theater is, Kathy Ferraro is doing this Top Dog, it's on the 21st. And so you have this wonderful opportunity. Everyone loves dogs, they love animals, they love babies, okay? Let's take a look at that post for a minute. There's nothing that's like so amazing about this, right? I mean, it's a photograph. It's really good. But what's interesting about it, if you start to look at this and you look at the insights, it's been liked 333 times. It's been shared 32 times. In other words, 32 people put it somewhere out there besides just where it lives right here. This is one where you can actually click this and it's kind of like reposting it to your followers again, almost like you had done a post. So they could be going in a couple more times. Instead of actually posting this on their feed, they just click on this. Their followers still get it as if it's a brand new post that came up, okay? And then the last one is the saves. What's interesting.
Can I ask a question,
Yeah.
question about the repost? So does that show up on your feed, or like if I repost somebody else's?
Different, a little bit different. Okay, let's go back to that. Let's go to that for a minute. Okay, let's say that on this one, she's talking about reposting, sharing, whatever, and when you share, it's typically done as a story. Let's just take an example of this, okay? This is the post itself. These are the ones that are on your feed, and they last forever unless you decided to delete it, okay? There's something else that is called a story. This is where, Neville, you were kind of asking about this. We're not gonna get too far into it. If I click on the button up there that says Think Local First, these are the stories that we have out there, okay? Now, I don't wanna create all these stories. What I do is, when a post comes in, like let's say it's this kids. Let's say I wanted to share the sup shack. Let's say I wanna do this as a story. What I wanna do is, I wanna have it be up in that circle up at the top, and it's only gonna last for 24 hours, okay? And then it's gone. So all you have to do for that, this right here is your paper airplane. If you click on that, okay, down on the bottom left it says add to story.
Can you hear the water calling?
Is that you?
Makes you wanna jump in. No.
I think that's you.
Oh! I'm so sorry.
Sounds like
Future of love.
Can you hear the water calling?
Trudy, I'm gonna kill you. No. You know, let me bring up something while we're right there for a moment. Trudy put this song out this morning, and then she said to me, Janet, I don't know if that's the right song, because it's a country song. The second line says crack a cold one, and this is like a kid's camp, but it's so catchy. She said, what do you think? And what I think is irrelevant, but you know, it's one of those that if you go out there and you mess up on something, you can always go in and delete the post. You put it up as a post, all I would have to do is go up to those 3 dots right up there, click on it, pull down to delete, get rid of it. Because this morning, that's exactly what she did for another reason, and then she put this one up. So, again, the story thing that we're talking about, if you were to press here, make sure, well, it's probably still gonna play it, but you'll have to listen to her music. Add to story.
Can you hear the water calling?
One thing that's interesting, if you click on it, click on the post itself, see how it brings the stuff in down below? If I click on it again, it's out of there.
And it sounds like
It's important when you do a post, if you want people to share that as a story, try to get the most important thing in those first 2 lines. Because when someone shares it as a story, everything else disappears below 2 lines if they put that in there. So try to get your important stuff in the first 2 stories, and I think that's true of anything. Songwriting, you get you get it in the first 2 lines or whatever, so you have people's attention, okay? So, the difference between a story and a post, I hope I'm not going too fast. I come from a family, you talk fast if you want to get a word in, a big family. So, the difference between a story and a post, in my opinion, is this. When you do a post like this, let's go back to the page. When you're doing a post like this, they're gonna last here forever, okay? They'll just keep scrolling down chronologically. And that requires someone to come in and actually, on their feed, click on it and scroll down, scroll down. That's how you get your feed, that's how you see posts. But if a person is sitting in a meeting at Apple, they're not gonna put their finger on their phone and start doing this. So a lot of times what people will do is they'll go to stories, because one of the interesting things about stories is when you click on that button up at the top I was talking about, see all these up at the top? Those are all the stories that I have up on Think Local First right now. It will just go through. He did a long one. Let me go to one that's a little bit shorter. It will just go through. It'll just automatically scroll. So you can be sitting there in the airport and it's like entertaining you. It's like watching a film, okay? Stories, from what I'm told, people use those, you know, it's kind of like some people just want the instant where they're on the Peloton, they can't be scrolling, they want to just be like watching, versus the other one where you need to scroll with your finger to see it. Okay, so that's just a basic thing on stories and that. Okay, the other thing about stories, how many of you use highlights? Yeah, you know what those are? Michael, you have highlights, but you don't know what they are, and I know that you don't have a title on them. So, if someone goes out there,
That's why I'm here.
if someone goes out there and they look at your page and they're seeing like, do I want to follow this person? What do they post? They would have to start doing this to kind of see what you post, you know, like scrolling. Another thing they could do is they could just press on the highlight, and what this will do, it's just going to scroll through these stories. So the thing about stories is, if you want to have those little circles for highlights, you can only get them if you did a story. So for example, Michael the musician, you could have, let me go back out. And by the way, if anyone afterwards really wants to know, like walk me through how to do a story, stay around. I'm fine, I don't have a time frame. So if Michael wanted to do, let's say he's got one, we do pause local. This is all our animal type posts. Pop-up local, dress local, our board, okay? Think of these as buckets that has stuff in them, okay? These stories in them. So when someone goes to our page, they can kind of look at what those are, what those highlights are. Michael may have a highlight called DJ. He may have one called songs. He may have one called gigs or whatever. It's like a bucket that you put your stories into, and someone would click on those and kind of see what kind of gigs do you do.
And those don't expire.
They don't expire.
You manually like tag
No.
them.
The only thing I would tell you is,
Are they like pin posts, or are they different? You know,
no, pin post, if you pin something, it's going here.
Right.
Okay? It's staying at the top of your feed no matter what you post down below. These will just, every time I do a new one, let me just show you real quickly on what we could do. Let's just say I take, to do a highlight, those top three in the corner, those top horizontal lines, I could press on that. Oops, it's not showing internet. Oh, here it is. Okay. If I go to archive right here, archive gets me to all the stories because the stories are archived. So I could go in there, grab one of those, like this was Kalani that she had just done one and I did a story for her. I could go down to where it says, whoops, go to that one again, go down to the bottom right where it says highlight, and I could search on, let's see, where is the one that says, I forget, Pamper Local or something, but let's just stick it in Belong Local. I'll just stick it there for now. It's now in the highlight. So what you can do is you can have a highlight and you go back in and you just take those stories and stick them in there. And it's a good way too, like if you have specials going on, instead of making someone go to the bio to find your specials, you could have the little round thing that says specials. You could have one for facials, lashes, whatever.
How do you create the folders? I'm like,
Okay.
you're putting
So,
them in different, highlights are essentially a different
let's do
folder,
a quick
right?
one. Let's go back to what Kalani's was. Let's do the highlight. See the plus sign right over here?
Mhm.
Okay, let's do a plus, and let's create a highlight, and it's gonna be called facial. Facials, okay? Add. Okay, view on profile, let's just show you where it is. Right now, we have one now called facials, okay? Now, it's always chronological. You can't pick a highlight back here and bring it up here. You can only do that if you did a post in it, and now it'll bring it to the front, okay? Be careful on your highlights that you go in periodically, because like now with facials, if I had 10 more things that were facials, I can keep putting them in that bucket, okay? The thing is, go in periodically and check what's in there, because you may have like a menu from 2022 that doesn't even apply a price list or whatever, and you can easily take them out of highlights. You just deselect them and keep freshening your highlights. I think, in my opinion, I would probably have, let's say, however many you need, 10, 12 highlights, and those buckets, maybe you have 10 or 12 stories in each of those. So, okay, we won't go much further on that or we're gonna get bogged down.
I wanna say one thing about
Yes.
highlights. So I have a group of young friends that I'm old souls, so they're my age, but they're different than me. But they don't even post pictures anymore. Like they don't have the grid. They like just do highlights. So my assumption is
They're just doing stories
they're
then.
just doing
Yeah,
stories.
and you can do
Like,
that.
To go to their profile, they have no pictures of themselves.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but for that
Yeah.
30s
Yeah.
younger, they're like not even caring about having a post.
Yeah.
They're only looking
For
at-
most businesses, you definitely wanna have a profile.
Yeah.
And what's gonna be on that profile? Your events, showing the facials, some, whatever. You're gonna load it up with stuff. One thing I will say, I tend to be one that stays away from graphics. I think typically, this is actually a video where it's the fish. This is fantastic fish. But, where it goes through and shows the fish. I tend to stay away from graphics where people just create a Canva thing that says what it is. I tend to go with things that are a little more pictures. But again, on our website, on Think Local First, on our Instagram account, because we're kind of taking other people's posts, we, sometimes they just have they're very graphic on what they do instead of photographs. I love photographs and reels, videos.
One point of clarification, so assuming this is my Instagram page, those buckets are stories that I have liked and they show up down
Great.
there?
No, great question. So when I created that one called Facials, I took a story. She had put a post up. And so what I did is I created a story with it so that it's a story that Think Local First is sharing for her. It's in my archives. I take it from my archives and I put it in the bucket, okay? It could also be, I did Fantastic Fish, and I can turn that into a story, and I can put it in the bucket. We have one for pets in here, I forget, Paws Local, that would be the pets. So that's what and by the way, if you're looking for content, again, because I do this as a volunteer, I don't have 10 hours a day to do what's required sometimes for things. You can take, just like when she does a post, if I like the post, I can do it as a story. I put it up on a story on mine. I typically have about 24 stories that are going. They're not things I've created. I just take stories from other posts that people did. Okay? Let's talk for a moment about, we kind of said what to post. A couple different things. You can have a post that is, and this is a perfect example. When Trudy did the post on this one, it's got the 1 to 8 up here, meaning there's 8 photos there. That's what they call a carousel. So in other words, I would go like this and it would go through photos, okay? That's requiring me to, again, use my finger to scroll, which you kind of have to think about who your audience is. Maybe you want it to be that way, maybe you don't. Versus, let's do the second one. This one, same thing, still photos, but what I did is you do it as a reel. So instead of just saying it's a post, do it as a reel, because a reel scrolls automatically. So this is how you can take still photos and have them just roll through, okay? What I've heard on the difference on why people do some things as a carousel and why they do it as like a reel is that with a carousel, if you're trying to educate someone and you've got like information on there, you don't want it to just be rolling by because they're gonna miss whatever you were talking about. That may be one where you really wanna do a carousel, like 8 photos, because they're gonna scroll and look at something. The other one is, you didn't need to, you don't need to scroll through 8 photos of fish. I just wanted to do that for you, okay? Okay, let's go down to tagging and collaborating. These are my favorite, okay? This is how you're gonna get followers. This is how you're gonna get engagement. This is what I think, you girls are laughing at me.
Look at the bottom.
Because you tagged me. You know what? Would you please?
Yeah.
I tag, here's a good one.
Busted.
You guys are all Scotts Valley
Busted.
Chamber members. When you do a post, she wants content, okay? So when you do a post, would you go on your phone, what she would see is Scotts Valley Chamber, if she went to her phone right now,
I'm busy recording you, Janet, but I will do it, I swear to God.
oh, okay, that's fine. If she were to go to her page right now and click here, she's got a message. And that message would say, Think Local First is offering you collaboration. And you just check the box that says, I accept it. Or you don't accept it. You just leave it and you don't accept it. So if you went here, here's all this stuff of, here's people sending you things. These are where all your messages live. Okay, that's that button on the bottom that's telling me that I'm being notified that I've got some messages there. So when people say I tag you all the time and you never respond, that's where they're living. That's where those go to. So I have it so that you are getting notifications. Some people choose not to have notifications. You know, maybe you're getting 1,000 of these a day, but if you choose to have notifications, what's nice is that I always know there's a message. I'm not gonna miss it, okay?
I have
Now,
a question.
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Like, my thing has an automatic response that just like says I'm gonna get back to you, but then sometimes I don't actually see that, so then I just ghosted somebody who wants me to talk to them. How do I turn that off?
The automatic response?
Yeah, like I'd rather just respond.
I would love you to turn it off. My opinion is, when I get those, and I don't know if you guys have any accounts that you'll tag, and every time you tag it, it comes back. You answer them, it comes back. It responds, everything.
Yeah.
I'm not the techie person, but I know someone in here knows how to do that. But you can go in and turn off the auto response.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Because, and we were talking about with the chamber, we were gonna do that, because right now, when that comes back, it's just like,
It's like we don't care.
I don't, respond back when you're actually responding.
Right.
Don't leave me hanging.
It kind of looks worse.
Yeah. So she would go in and she would have something that says collaboration. She could accept. What collaboration means now is, and let me use an example, like this post started with Sup Shack Santa Cruz. It's on her page. When I accepted collaboration, now it's on 2 pages. It's on hers, it's on mine. Let me tell you how that makes a difference, and I'm gonna use an example of something. Let's say that you have an account, Surf City Line Dance. Nico has Surf City Line Dance. Let's say she's going down to the mall, and on the last Sunday of every month, she does line dancing. So the mall, downtown Santa Cruz, they love to repost things, share things and collaborate on something that's downtown. She's a Think Local First member, but maybe she also says, I'm gonna get Pizzeria La Bufala. We're gonna have them do a special on the boot scootin' pizza, sausage pizza. She could turn around and she does the post. She has 2,000 followers. She turns around and offers it to Think Local First to collaborate. Then she turns around, she offers collaboration to downtown Santa Cruz, to Abbott Square, even Pizzeria La Bufala. She's got 5 people she's offering collaboration on. She's gone from potentially, if all 5 of those accept the collaboration, instead of just having the 2,000 followers that she has on Surf City Line Dance, she has 45,000 people looking at that post if they put it on their account. Now, collaboration, how you do it, let's just take, I'm gonna use Fantastic Fish as an example. This is the post I did, okay? Up on the top right corner, see those 3 buttons there? You probably know this is how you edit a post. I could go down, scroll down to where it says edit, tag people, you have add tag, invite collaborators, okay? So just as a for instance, let me just put, you don't do your own, I don't wanna send it to someone that, Kalani, let's just say I wanted to offer Kalani Day Spa, okay? Invite to collaborate. If she looked on her phone now, she has a message that says, do you wanna collaborate? And I'll take you back off after the class, so you don't have to have that on your account. It's just gonna sit there, she can either collaborate or not. It's just a way of getting your post out there a little bit further with more eyes looking at it. I am a strong, strong believer in collaboration. When you guys do a post and your chamber members, she wants content. Give her the opportunity to collaborate with you. When you're Zinnia's home, Zinnia's gifts, give her the chance to collaborate because she wants content.
What's the difference of collaboration versus just tagging?
Okay, good question. Let's do this. If I went in and tagged someone, all that's doing is, and let me go back for a moment. If you tag someone, if you take a look down here, like, let me go back. let me find one where they actually, here, Corvin Legal Services. Cammie tagged me on this. I get a thing that says sent to Real by Corvin's. I'm just getting a message. If I pull that up and I like it and I reshare it as a story, whatever, but it's not going on my page. So tagging is very limited. All it's doing is creating a story. Collaboration is actually creating the post.
What do you mean tagging is creating a story?
Okay, let's take Cammie's for a moment. So she sent me a message. I could click on add to story.
Okay.
And just click down on the bottom left where it says stories, your stories, okay? That's now on Think Local First as a story. That's all I can do with it. It doesn't go on my page, it's going to be a story. So collaboration is really where it's like you want to be on her page. If you tag her, that's okay. The best she can do though is turn around and share it as a story.
And then you can take that story and put it in your bucket.
Exactly, in your highlights in there.
Good job.
Thank you.
So, go team. Did anyone raise your hand? Are you still confused? What, okay. You know what, let me hold off on you because right now, yeah, let me hold off on you. And I'll
So,
talk
so
to you.
the difference between collaboration is it actually puts it on their page. Tagging does not put it on their page.
Correct.
But they still have to accept it.
They have to accept it.
Yes.
So for example, you can offer collaboration. I offered it to Kalani. If she doesn't accept it, it just lives there and it doesn't affect her at all. And I'll go back in and delete it out of there, but it just sits there. If she were to accept it, it's now on Kalani Day Spa. That post for Sup Shack would now be on Kalani Day Spa.
Can she edit it?
If you created the post, you can edit. If you're a collaborator, you can't edit any further. You can't go in and change the if Kalani, if she accepts
Lonnie
the
can't
collaboration,
edit what I gave her.
correct. And that saves you, and that's good. You don't want her changing the post. It's your post. You want your wording on it.
Now, can she send it to can the collaboration go, or is it just?
She can't offer any more
Okay.
collaboration because she could offer it to a strip club in LA. I don't know.
You can't call
I
Kim
don't
out
know
like
her
that.
well enough. Some of you may. I don't know her well enough. But it really, when you offer collaboration, all you're doing is getting on their page. They cannot do anything with it.
So my followers.
Okay? So let's talk about tagging, which is the other thing. So when we're talking about tagging, let's say that we're doing, let me go back to Fantastic Fish. So let's say that I'm going in and I'm going to edit and I want to tag people. One thing I would share with you, with tags, you are allowed to tag up to 20 accounts. And I want to encourage you to start doing more of that. So I'm going to show you how to tag, and then I want to tell you why I recommend that you do that, okay? So let's take this one, let's add a tag. So whose account can we use? Michael, we'll use your account. Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L, Gaither, G-A-I, where are you? If I click on Michael Gaither, he's now on there. I've tagged him, okay? I've tagged him. If he were to look at his phone right now, the
I
message
see
button,
nothing, but I get the idea.
okay, the message button would show he's got a tag. Why am I tagging him? Maybe it's something, Michael's probably not a good example of this, but let's say that when I went out there, and let me just show you who I tagged. Cancel. The people that I tagged, Soul Sweets, Mountain, these are all people come up, they're in the same shopping center with Fantastic Fish. Now, why would I do that? One is, I kind of want to put Think Local First back out. They may want to be a member. So I'm putting my name out to them. The other is, when you're Kalani Day Spa and you tag someone that works down the street at some other business, does that person ever want to have facials or waxing or something, relax on a Friday? Good reason to tag someone is you're tagging people that it's like, think of tagging as a tap on the back. Okay, I want to make sure that Michael saw it. I want to make sure that Kalani saw it. A tag is tapping someone on the back. You're not waiting for them to find it just by casually looking in their feed and somehow they come across your post. When you're doing a post and it's something like whatever you had, where do you get your customers from?
A lot of referral, like we work with chiropractors and physical therapists. And get
Great.
referrals that way.
When you do do you do baby chiropractic, you mean?
No.
Oh,
No.
someone does. That's why I thought it was you. Someone does baby chiropractic.
No.
So let's say Helping Hands. When she does, when she does a post and she's telling me that's where she gets her customers from, go in and let's just say add tag, and I'm searching Chiro, C-H-I-R-O, chiropractic. There's Laura Barnum. You can go in and tag these people. If that's where you get your customers from, I want you to tag 20 chiropractors. But find a post like something that you think, like where you're talking about, you know, let's say you interview a chiropractor and he's talking for 30 seconds about how great it is, or it's a referral. Why not tag other chiropractors? Okay? This is how you'll build business. You'll also get more followers because they don't know about her. Okay?
But they still don't show up on the page, don't you? They still
Correct.
have to accept the tag.
All it is, Dr. Laura Barnum got the message just like Michael did to say, hey, by the way, you know, I sent you a tag, or I sent you a post. Okay? Tagging is probably the best way to gain followers, to have more results, because you need to reach out to people that right now you're not talking to. If you've got 1,000 followers, it just means when you do a post on your feed, only 1,000 people can see it unless someone else shares it. Tagging now is that other person that gets it. Now, they may like it. The chiropractor may like it and say, I'll share it as a story, just like I do. Now, all of a sudden, you have all their followers seeing it. It's on their page as a story. When I tag people, it's kind of like my thing about, I'm hoping you'll share this.
So it's only 20? Is it 20? Is that a month? I mean, I
No,
think it's
20
very
on
low.
any post.
20 per post.
20 per post. So I can go in with Fantastic Fish and I can put 20 tags on that post. Okay? I'll do the next post that might be it's someone else. It's the hotel or whatever. And then what you're gonna do is I might tag 20 other people that are, I don't know, travel agents or whatever. You know, you vary your tags. Go in there and all you have to do to find tags is just search the keyword. With yours, searching chiro, where else do you get chiropractors? Where else do you get business from?
I mean, mostly referrals, like clients refer other people, but.
Products that you use, you know, if you have products that you use, the other day, remember we tagged someone, so you have a product that you're using, go ahead and maybe you offer that person collaboration. You did, and they accepted it. One of her suppliers. But if they don't, maybe there's some big, you know, farmer's dog food or whatever, they're probably not gonna accept your collaboration. But you know, nice, you tag them, you're out promoting them. And she mentioned too, in the content, and let's go out of there for a minute. Boy, I'm gonna have to do some cleanup on some of these posts. Why is the dog there? So, let me go back to something here. I didn't necessarily do it on Fantastic Fish, but let's say down in the content down here, let's say, you know, this is where you can also put, and remember tagging, we're not talking about this kind of tagging, not a hashtag. I'm talking about the A, where you're tagging someone. You can do it like I did, where you edit it and you put them in there, and then they're kind of hidden. You can also tag people in here. So it could have been that I did like tagging someone here with an A. I tend to put them in the other place, put my 20 there. But what's interesting is that you might tag 20, but you can put other ones in here so you actually get above 20. If you might have some where the A is in the content, and you may have others where, like I did, where I tag these 20 people. It doesn't say who I tagged. If someone clicked in the top left, where that little person's face is right there, they would see who I tagged. Now, why did I tag them? They're all Scotts Valley businesses. They're right close to where Fantastic Fish is. I don't know if, you know, Cycle Sports has nothing to do with fish, but maybe he has kids and they love fish. And they didn't know that Devon's over there. Okay, so how are we doing? Ooh.
It's okay.
Let's see what else I wanted to talk about.
What's the difference between the hashtag and the app?
Great question. Yeah. When they first started doing Instagram, the hashtags, okay? Yeah. Hashtags were something that were really like, you should get out there. And they used to allow 30 of them. They just changed that, and now it's 5. And so what a hashtag is something different. And let me show you what I mean. If I were to go down to that circle again down at the bottom, and let's just say I put facial. Let's say I put the word facial in. Facial. I'm gonna be able to spell it. Facial. And then I click the button to search. Accounts up there. So the accounts accounts, if I click on accounts, it's the accounts. If I click on tags, tags are the hashtags. So,
How many people misspelled it?
Funny, people misspelled
works.
facial,
Yeah.
I know they did. So this is where hashtags, faith, thank you guys. At least it's not super embarrassing. Let's do tags again. So there's tags.
Yeah.
19 million people do the hashtag facial, okay? If I were Kalani, if I did a post about facials, I probably wouldn't use the hashtag facial because I'm competing with 19 million of these posts. I would skim down a little bit and find something that might be, just as an example, facial glow, 165,000. You have people, just like I said, people look at stories, they look at posts. You have people that just look at hashtags. What they're oftentimes looking for, and let's for a moment go back to facial up at the top and let's get a tag, facial, okay? This is where you can find, remember when I said those videos that you can download? So I might look at this and say, ooh, this is a good one. I wonder if I can download it. You can look at this, you click on the little paper airplane here. Okay, they don't allow downloads. Some accounts do, some accounts don't. So if I wanted, let me do another one, facial humor. Let's see if there's anything on facial humor. Let's say it's Friday and you need something funny. It's been a long week. Here's facial humor. I love, look at that. You know, I mean, this is where, if you don't want to be doing your own stuff, use what everyone else is doing. When you see those fun ones that they share, and she can get something in here, she can click on it, driving back to work after my doctor appointment, it was really a facial. I love that. That was cute. So, you know, find your humor. That may not be at all appropriate, but this is what I use hashtags for. Who had the question?
So in theory, if for hashtags, if everyone in this room was using hashtag Scotts Valley Local, is that a growth caliber?
It can be if people are looking at that hashtag. What's interesting is, and maybe someone will correct me, who's my analytics person here, is I'm finding over time people are using hashtags a lot less.
Yeah.
And it also used to be, I up until a couple weeks ago, I had a hashtag Think Local First Santa Cruz. And then what I did is I followed the hashtag so that whenever someone posted something and did that, well, they no longer allow you to follow a hashtag. So it's like I have to go in now and randomly look and see if people have posted on that. I just kind of the other day I changed it.
Yeah, it feels like it's being phased out.
It's more phased out. I use it though. I love it for searching for something
I
I'm
was
looking
gonna
for.
say,
But
that's
for
what
new
it is,
resources
just
or
for
creativity, it
Yeah.
could be a gold mine in some way, but it feels like it's going out of.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm hearing. And most people tell me, you know, maybe they'll do a hashtag Scotts Valley, hashtag Scotts Valley CA, Scotts Valley California, Scotts Valley Local. When we had the floods in Capitola, what we did was we got on doing Capitola Strong, and all the businesses when they were doing posts were hashtagging Capitola Strong. So we kind of had a place that they were going to.
So, but if you're still using it to search, then people still need to be putting them in, otherwise you wouldn't find anything. Is that?
I sometimes put them in. I didn't put
Okay.
them in for probably the last dozen posts. I just don't use them as much. You know, and that's up to you. All right, what else?
This goes back always, but recommendation, how many highlights should we have on our profile? Is there a
I would
reason?
tell you, Think Local First has, because we have so many members,
Right.
we have all these different types of things. So if you looked at mine, I'm not gonna be a good example, because if you looked at mine, going back here, it just goes on and on. There's 25 or 30 of them.
Okay.
For the
Okay.
chamber, I think we have like Gala, the Art and Wine, we have a couple.
Art and Wine's a good one.
That are,
You could do one member spotlight or whatever, and when people tag you, you do one called, by the way, spotlight won't fit, it'll cut it off. You could do members. And what you could do is when people are tagging you, convert it into a story, put it in the bucket, and then about every 10 to 12, you know, what you can do, you can go to your bucket, let's do Invest Local. Okay? I can go into the bucket, and over on the bottom right it says, you guys can't see it, but down on the bottom right it says more, edit highlight. I can go in and deselect and take people out of there. Okay, so let me go back there real quick. So all this was down here, it says more. Okay, I'm in the highlight right now. Okay, so I'm in the highlight. What I did is I went down to the bottom right where it said more. I'm gonna click on edit highlight. And when I do that, I could deselect that one. It's not gonna be in the bucket anymore. This is how you take out your old price lists, all of that kind of stuff. And go through, because like if you're doing members, try to get a dozen of them up there and go back and just take out the older ones so everyone gets a share. You cannot control the order of how these go. So when they're in the bucket, you can't move one in front of the other. All you can do is deselect and that'll move them up. What else? What else?
Did you say we could go on Think Local First and see the video of
Yeah,
what you're
so
saying?
what you can do, because this is a lot of information. And I will tell you, it's different, because I use different members, different examples and that. All you have to do is go to Think Local First and do Linktree right here. And that will get you to watch us on YouTube. Now, one thing to explain too, while I would love to support you guys in terms of sharing stories and that, we only do it with members. So if you're tagging me on something, I can't share it. So, but she can share it, you know, and look at all the places that you could have. Really work on tagging more. For me, that's how we built up our membership. You know, was you tag people, and that's how you bring new followers in. If anyone wants help afterwards, if you want something else, I know we were going to talk a little bit. Did I answer kind of your thing about stories and posts? Did we kind of get that cleared up?
that.
Okay. If anyone wants to stay around and maybe do a quick thing with,
I'm just gonna interrupt really quick for those that have to go. If you've got business cards and want to exchange any business cards with anyone here, now's a good time. And feel free to go, but we can stay for a
and
while
you
and do some
guys
questions.
message me or text me if you have a problem. I don't care if you're a Think Local First member. I'm not picky.
She's a helper.
Text me, call, you know, whatever. I don't think my business cards. You can find me on Janet Romanowski Realtor. It has my contact info there. But text me or whatever. Tell me what your problem is. I'll be happy to help you through it or send you a screenshot of what you need to be looking for. One of the things I constantly get people asking about is they want to do more reels, but it's like, how do we do them? What do we do? If you want to stay around afterwards, the bonus is I'll show you a program called InShot. It's free. It's on your phone. It's an app. You don't have to go outside. By the way, everything I do for all these accounts is done on my phone. I don't do anything on a laptop or a desktop. Instagram is designed for your phone. If you want to stay around afterwards, I will show you how to do a very easy type of reel. And actually, you know the kind of reel where Kalani's talking, and then as she's talking, there's the picture of the facial being done. She's still talking in the background, but like she doesn't want to be on the camera for a minute. You know, it'd be a very good one with you where you talk a little bit to start with, but you really want to show the pillows and the couch and the bedding and everything else. You can put up still photos, you could put videos over the top, you could, you know, it's an easy way to do it. And InShot is a great program. Some of you may use CapCut. I never could master CapCut, and InShot came out and it's great. So if you want to stay around, I'm happy to help you with that or any other questions. Okay?
And just getting good at, you know, getting good is just practicing. And practicing a reel today will make it so that you can do a reel every week if that feels comfortable, and you'll become more and more friendly with Instagram.
Well, of course,
One more thing too, though, I have to run. But one of the things that Janet mentioned earlier was that you should enjoy it. And I can tell you that Think Local First, I had to do some of this posting. It's not my thing. I don't like it. And you could tell. And you can totally tell that Janet loves it, right? So for people also in particular, what I think is if you're looking for someone to help you with social media because you're kind of allergic to it, make sure you find somebody who really has fun with it. Because that is then reflected through your profile. It's reflected through the interactions. That's one of the things I've definitely noticed.
You'll
is
also
that there's joy
find
in it.
This is what I do. I'm not saying to myself, I gotta post at 3 o'clock today and it's gotta be this and that and the other thing. I'm just wandering around. When I earlier mentioned Santa Cruz Coffee Roasting Company, I walked into Santa Cruz Coffee Roasting Company a couple weeks ago, and the guy, I said to him, can you make me something that's like weather appropriate? It was raining. He gave me a coffee. Instead of having a heart on it, it had a cloud. It was so cute. And I took a photo of it. And, you know, I there to my friends that love coffee, but I offered collaboration to Santa Cruz Coffee Roasting. Janet Romanowski, Santa Cruz Coffee Roasting. They accepted it. And it went out there and it got, I don't know, 2,000, 3,000 views or whatever. It was just a picture of a cup of coffee. But that's where you're not saying like, I'm going in there, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Just like have the photographer's eye. Everything you're doing when you're walking around, you know, when Patrick's walking around and there's a tree that's falling across the sidewalk, by all means take a picture of it.
Yeah.
You know, if you're an attorney, take a picture of it. There's my next customer, you know, whatever. Have fun with it. If you're not having fun, then your focus on what you're doing is wrong. Everyone can have fun with what they're doing. Even if what you end up doing is just a lot of pictures of people with goo all over their face. And you laugh because you know what comes out of it. Don't try to do things you're not interested in doing. Okay?
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And take me up on texting me and messaging me if you need something. Send me a screenshot of how you got yourself in trouble. You can delete everything, so don't be afraid. I did one, my fun story, my last story is Capitola Chamber has Santa comes in on Saturday, and I posted it, or on Sunday, and I posted they came in on Saturday, or one or the other, it was the wrong day. Oh, I know, I posted on Sunday that he was coming in, and Carrie called me and said, Janet, he came in yesterday. So you just go in and delete the post very graciously, who cares? Okay? Good.
Thanks.
Of course.
Are you a solo?
Would you stay around and I'll give you a bite?
Okay, awesome.
Solo duo, short,
Okay, awesome. What's your genre of music that you do?